Welcome back to Cabin View Ventures. It's a cold morning, so perfect day to light the wood stove. We got a lot on the agenda for today, but first thing I wanted to do was get this thing fired up. I've always had cast iron wood stoves. This is my first soapstone wood stove. I bought this one last year and absolutely love it. So what's nice with this stone, the soapstone, is it retains heat very well. So once this fire goes out, this stone stays warm for hours and keeps radiating heat into the room. It also doesn't get as hot to the touch as cast iron does. Still gets really hot. You don't want to touch it, but it's not going to sear the skin right off your hand if you bump into it like a cast iron wood, like a cast iron stove would. So, really happy with this soapstone so far. Right, I hope you guys can hear me okay. We've got about 35-mile-per-hour wind gusts blowing through. So I guess that's the downside to bringing this cold weather here finally, but the mud's starting to freeze up, which is great. It's going to be nice and cold for the next week. We got a little bit of snow possibly coming in. So hopefully we'll get to try out that snow edge that I had in my last video. But right now I unloaded this skid. This is the one I already built, loaded up, and tried to pick up with the Kubota, the L3901, and it was just way too heavy. So I'm gonna reconfigure this so I can hopefully pick this up with the tractor. Now, on a side note, any of you guys that are out tractor shopping right now, I was curious, so I jumped on the Kubota's website. I wanted to look at the new tractors because they have the new O2 series for the L series tractors, and they can lift considerably more than what my O1 series tractors can lift. So I know my tractor, my 3901, it's a 40 horsepower tractor. It's a mid-size compact. There are compact tractors that are much bigger. There are ones that are a little bit smaller. So my tractor can lift 1,100 pounds at the pivot pins. The new 3902 can lift a little over 1,500 pounds at the pivot pin. So I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but an extra 400 pounds is quite a bit. And then they also have an L4802, which can lift about 2,200 pounds at the pivot pin. So that actually might be the one to go with if you're looking for a tractor that size. 2,200 pounds from that front loader is actually really strong for that size tractor. So, if I were to buy a new one, that's probably the one I would go with, either that L4802 or the MX. The MX series is just a little bit bigger, the next size up. I think that one was about 2,400 pounds on those pivot pins for the loader. So that's a lot of weight that those can lift. Definitely would be enough to handle these face cords of firewood. Whew. It is cold and windy. simple what we're doing. I'm just moving these to the ends. All right, so I'm kind of using what I have. Normally this will be flush with the top, but I didn't have enough boards left over because I'm using, you know, stuff I had previously cut for the last cage, but I wanted this to have a nice look to it. So I wanted these to be flush with everything. So now I have a full 48 inches on the inside instead of putting a bracket on the outside or the inside. So this is going to be a good design, I think, for this. I'm going to have to steal another piece from the other rack I built, but this won't take up any more lumber than the previous ones I had built. So if you go back to those videos I did, you'll see how much lumber I used and how much I priced that out to be. So I think they were right around $35 or $40 for all the lumber needed to build one of these. Right, so we're going to put a centerpiece on to hold it all together. It's actually very strong side to side, so this is going to work out pretty well. right, guys, there it is. So that thing's nice and sturdy. We've got both sides open on it, so you can load from either side. And then these supports, that's where our wood's gonna butt up against. So we'll be able to stack it nice and high so we can eventually fit a full face cord of firewood in here with only 2 rows. We're gonna have a nice gap in the middle for airflow. So this wood should dry in this rack pretty quick. So let's stack a little wood in here, and then we're gonna call it a day because it is cold and it is windy. All right, I think that's gonna about wrap things up for today. So I am really happy with how this latest design turned out. Very easy to stack the wood in from either side because both sides are open, and the only support I have is in the center. So, you know, you can easily reach over. Again, this is a 48-inch long pallet, 40 inches wide. So I have 2 rows of 16-inch long firewood. I got a nice gap up the middle, and this is going to be able to hold a face cord of firewood once we stack it tall enough. But like I said before, we're gonna see how much we can move with the tractor. So we're gonna stack it a little bit at a time until we hit that point where we just can't move it safely anymore, and then we will just move it to where it's going to dry and stack it the rest of the way from there. So I really like this. Easy to build, doesn't take up a whole lot of lumber, relatively cheap on price. You know, like I said, they're around $35, $40 to build these, as long as you can get the wood pallets for free. And this is going to work out pretty well. So I'm happy with these results. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. I hope you like this one. You know, if you like the content, please subscribe. Hit that like button. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and we will see you on the next one.